Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is part 3 of the Mist Hashira. Enjoy. You reached for your sword and drew it. I'll take it on first, you said to Muichiro without looking at him. Okay, he replied, and then you set your sights on this demon again. With a breath in and then out, you pushed your weight into your feet and then sprung forwards, aiming the tip of your sword at its neck, but you missed and skidded out the door. Muichiro was next in the attack, and he too missed the demon, who followed you both outside. Girls go first, the demon sneered, trying to grab at you as you swiped your sword and took out both of his arms in one go. First form, red, you shouted, lunging at him and swiping his torso with a million small cuts that lit up red as you struck him. You made such a flurry that the demon stopped in surprise for a second, fearing that you had killed him. But when you'd finished your attack and had jumped back, he looked down at the paper cut-like lines littering across his body and then suddenly cackled.
Ha! You think you can take me down with these small cuts? Why do you even bother to carry a sword?
The demon laughed, making his hands grow back from where you had sliced them off.
I don't even need to regenerate these. They are.
Suddenly he paused and gripped at his chest.
Ah!
He screeched, his body shaking and trembling before he suddenly burst into flames and disintegrated into thin air. You straightened and put your sword away, looking towards Muichiro. Okay, that's done, he said with a smile, then turned to head back into the shop to tell the owner about what had happened and the good news that accompanied. Muichiro didn't say anything. He just stared at you as he followed, and remained quiet while you spoke to the man who was ever grateful that you had disposed of the demon so quickly. I need to tell everyone it's safe to come back now, he said with delight, standing up as if he were going to do it right there and then, but a small voice at the door stopped him. Sir, ma'am, a boy from the door of the shop called. You looked over at him. I saw you kill the demon. I really did, with my own eyes, and I came over here because I've been waiting to have ramen for the past week, and my mum won't let me come because she says it's dangerous. But is it okay now? Can we come here again for food? Oh, please say it's okay, he begged. It's very safe again, my boy, the owner said enthusiastically. Like you said, the demon has been killed, so you can tell everyone to come back. Oh, I will, the boy said excitedly. I will, I'll do it right now. The shop owner laughed and the boy left, yelling out into the night as he ran through town. You wouldn't believe it, but suddenly people started to flood back into the small ramen shop, even though it was after midnight now. Almost the whole village came to life again to come and congratulate the shop owner. He was so excited that he opened the shop right there and then and started serving ramen at 2 a.m. Naturally, you were caught up in the excitement too and offered to serve some food to the hungry customers. You and Muichiro hung up your swords for an hour and helped run the small ramen shop, greeting customers, serving food and taking payments, and by 5 a.m. the small shop had run out of food and everyone had gone back home, full and happy, and you, Muichiro, and the owner were stuffed. What a night, you commented to the owner with a yawn and a stretch. I can't thank you enough for your help tonight, he said with tears in his eyes. I've made enough money to feed my family for a whole month now. I can't believe it. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad that we could help, he said with a bright smile, looking back to Muichiro, who was just quietly standing there looking dull. His unenthusiasm irked you a little bit, but you remained chipper. You weren't going to let him bring you down. After helping to clean up, you and Muichiro left to head on. You still had your important mission for the master to get to, and now you were a little behind schedule, but that was going to be okay. You could make up time. And it was probably better to get to the castle at night anyway, if this was to be a stealth mission. No one seeing you going in or out. That was the aim. It was the early hours of the morning when you and Muichiro left to continue on to your next post, and you followed behind him as usual, just watching the trees along the path moving ever so slightly every now and again in the very dim light. It was that time between day and night, where there's no sun and no moon, and everything is a dull greyish blue. It kind of reminded you of Muichiro's eyes. You looked up at the back of him, and then back down to the ground in front of you. So, you're the colour Hashira, right? He asked into the thin morning air. Yep, you replied, thinking that that was going to be the end of the conversation. You use colour to wound? He asked. Well, yeah, basically. I use all the colours of the rainbow for specific forms. Each colour attack is different, you replied nonchalantly. Ah. The first form, red. It's a slow attack, right? Muichiro asked. You perked up a little, looking at his back as you spoke. Yeah, it's a shallow attack, but it burns into the person, or demon, until it hits a vital organ, and then they internally bleed out or disintegrate, you said. It's good if you need someone to die, but you also need to get going. You can slice and move on knowing, or hoping, that your attack is going to be seen through to the end. Muichiro hummed in reply. You were hoping he was going to keep asking questions, but he didn't, so you waited for a bit and then asked your own question. How did you come to be in the Hashira ranks? You asked him. He hummed thoughtfully. I came because Amane brought me. I don't remember anything before then, he said, and you made a small hum sound and then fell quiet. Unfortunately, I do remember what happened before I became a Hashira, you said with a small shudder. My parents sold me and my baby sister to a man because they needed the money. He was horrible. I don't want to talk about what he did to us, but one night he threatened to feed us to demons. I don't know if he called a demon in or if it found its way in, but it was there in the doorway all of a sudden. It attacked my baby sister, and just then you ran smack bang into the back of Muichiro, unaware that he had stopped dead in his tracks ahead of you. Ouch, you said softly, rubbing your nose and stepping back. Sorry, why did you stop? You looked around him, but there was nothing in front of him on the road, so you looked around into the forest, but although the skyline was starting to show a little easier now, there was nothing else around. You okay? You asked him, walking around in front of him to look at him. He had a funny look on his face, and you waved your hand in front of his eyes to try and draw his attention. Muichiro? You asked. Suddenly he blinked a few times and then looked at you. Yes? He asked. You okay? You asked again with concern. I think so, he replied, tilting his head to the side a little as he looked at you. Okay, you just spaced out for a second, like more than usual, you said. Oh, he said softly. Then he gestured past you. We need to keep going. We'll sleep during the day today and then reach the castle tonight. Okay, you replied, slightly dubiously. Still not sure if he was truly okay or not, but not wanting to push your luck in asking more questions. Lead the way, he said, stepping back to fall behind him again. Ooh, what happened? Did we remind him of his past? We'll have to find out. It hopefully will be mentioned in a chapter coming up, probably not the one next week, which is when the next chapter will be at the usual one-shot time. I'll see you then.